Are you searching for a deeper understanding of your faith?
Inspiring Philosophy is your go-to resource for exploring the rich tapestry of Christian thought.
From biblical archaeology to philosophy of mind, we dive into the topics that matter.
Our content bridges faith and understanding, offering insights into God's existence and the reliability of the New Testament.
Join a community where faith meets reason and discover the answers you've been seeking.
Inspiring Philosophy, where faith meets understanding. All right, we're live, everyone. I have escaped the back rooms from the last stream. Took me many days to get out of them, but I finally found my way to a proper hotel room in South London. And so, yeah, it's 9 p.m. over here in South London, and I'm joined with Than and Matt. I'm exhausted. How are you guys?
Hi, exhausted. I'm Than.
Okay, anyway, Matt, how are you?
He took my dad joke. But I'm great. I'm doing great. I'm not in a place where people have to fake their accent all day.
It's ridiculous. We all know you British people are faking the proper accent. We know you know how to say water. There's an R at the end. Stop pretending there isn't. I'd like a bottle of water. Shut up. Okay. We know you know how to say it. Okay. It's ridiculous.
Did you take the Piccadilly line?
No, I did not take the Piccadilly line. But I was up around Oxford for the past 2 days doing some podcast for Unbelievable. Debated Stephen Law, was really great. He's a legend. Real honor to meet him. And then I asked the guys at Unbelievable, I'm like, so can someone give me a ride to South London? And they looked at me like I just asked them to fight a bear. And they're like, we don't drive into London. We don't do that. That's not good. And so I'm like, well, how do I get there? And so they dropped me off at the train station with a pat on the back and a good luck and sent me into the London Underground. I had to get on 4 different trains to get here. I'm exhausted. I had to get on a train, get off the train down somewhere in London. Then I had to go into the Underground, then get on another train, then get on another train in the Underground, and to take that Underground train back to somewhere else, go back above ground, find like a platform 15 of platform 50s, and then get on that train. Go to South London, and then I had to get off and find my hotel. It was a lot, but I managed, and I would like an apology from the Brits because this is confusing. I don't know why I would.
You hear that, Alex O'Connor?
How many top of the mornings did you have to do to get through the?
No one said top of the morning to you because I'm not in Ireland.
Yeah, I've never heard top of the morning when I was in London.
Wait, is that where they only say that?
No, they say cheers a lot. They'll be like, yeah, I'm like, how you?
Cheers. Okay.
Instead of saying bye, they go cheers. British people making things up. That's not a proper word for bye. Okay. Disappointed in these people. Been trying to teach them how to speak proper English the whole time.
There's so many
They're
memes where it's like the British guy when he goes to bed at night and doesn't have to do the accent anymore, and he just goes from like this to like. It just falls on his bed completely exhausted.
First of all, the British claim they're super proper, but they don't. You know what we say in the U.S. when you have to have a leak? You say, "I'm going to go to the restroom." They say toilets. They say toilets. Going to the toilet.
Oh, you're not by the fancy people.
No, I'm not. No.
When I was in London a few weeks ago, I learned the phrase, "I have to go to the powder room."
No, I'm not near any of the proper people. I'm with the cockies.
They don't
I
say.
guess,
They
as you
also
would
don't
say.
say trash can or like garbage. They say litter bin.
So it's all wrong. But anyway, that's not why we're here today. We're here today because atheists are whining that Joe Rogan is going to church.
Ugh.
It's awful, guys. We found secular talk. What is his name? Kyle, basically saying like,
He looks
listen,
like a Kyle.
Joe Rogan used to be intelligent. He used to be inquisitive. He was curious. And then he stopped thinking like me. And obviously now he's stupid. Like, that's obviously what happens when you stop thinking like me, you know? So
Yeah.
that's pretty much the video. And I was like, dude, this is so stupid. We got to react to it. It's so dumb.
This video to me was just a case in point of all the things that you've been saying. And eventually you got me onto the train of saying when it comes to the sociology of the atheist secular movement. This basically just got replaced. Like Christianity got replaced in this guy's mind with just another form of totalitarianism and authoritarianism and political like craziness. He got mad. He's mad at Joe Rogan for being sort of a Christian. And remember, we'll cover it, but like he even talks about how he's mad at Jordan Peterson. No, he was mad at Wes Huff because Wes Huff is mad or upset that Jordan Peterson isn't crossing the line to join the cult. But he is also sitting here making a whole entire video about how Joe Rogan left his cult. And it's like, dude, do you not see the irony?
He used to be such a smart guy.
He used to be so smart when he thought
Then he left my cult.
Well, yeah, they're not in a cult, but he does say Christianity, the world's largest religion, is a cult. Kyle, do you know how words work? Like, honestly, dude, like this is ridiculously bad. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'll get to the super chats that came in. So if you guys have super chats, put them in now. John Knox says, how long did it take for Mike to realize Kenilworth isn't in London? Also, what do you think of Ian Proven's thoughts that the garden is more of a state of reality than a geographical place? So, yeah, I listen, anything in the south of Britain is London to us Americans. We don't care. Okay. There's Cornwall and there's London. And then what do you have? Birmingham. Okay. It's not Alabama. So there's obviously a problem there. It's Birmingham, England. And that's all we know. Somewhere Oxford and Cambridge are mixed in there. Don't expect me to like know. I just said I'm coming to London. That's the biggest city in the area. I figured you people could drive. All right. Come on. Ridiculous. I don't know what you want from me. And as terms of Proven's thoughts, yeah, that's not support. I don't see that in the text. Where does the text say that the Garden of Eden is more of a state of reality than the geographical place? It's identified where four rivers meet, Tigris and Euphrates being two of them. It's in the east. Okay, a state of reality is not in the east. It's a geographical place. If you can identify it with rivers in cardinal directions, okay, that's a place, not a state of mind or state of reality, whatever. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add to that, but if not, I'll move on.
No, sir.
Ooh, Matt, the omnipresent one is here.
Stop.
I have bigger muscles than Than, and he's upset.
Well, I have bigger brains. I got them big old dinosaur brains. Okay.
I have deeper wrinkles in my brain than you do, Mike.
Yeah, I got I don't need wrinkles. I got a nice smooth brain, big old dinosaur brain. Okay, big old nice and smooth. All right,
big old dinosaur brains.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into Kyle's lovely video here. Freaking cow, man.
Rogan that made him such a powerhouse is that people seem to like his childlike curiosity. And I do mean that descriptor in the most positive way possible. And I felt this too, being on his show 5-6 times, however many I was on it, that he does, like, he really is inquisitive. He always wants to go deeper. He has this curiosity on a plethora of issues where he wants to understand them, right? And so that was one of the things that made his show big in the first place. But what's happened in recent years is he's functionally become the exact opposite kind of person.
Yeah, you guys, he used to be so smart, and then he stopped thinking like me. So now he's
really
not
curious.
Yeah, used to be so curious and cool. Now he's stupid and dumb because he's not like me anymore. How am I wrong? What is this nonsense? This is he's being serious here.
It's basically just the rest of this video is exactly that, and a lot of ironic statements of like using people of propaganda and cult-like ideology and all this other stuff, but he's really just doing it himself.
He is no longer curious. He is no longer interested.
No longer.
He had any guest he has on, he goes right back to his standard rants about the left being authoritarian, wokeness being bad, COVID conspiracy theories being correct, Donald Trump triggering the liberals and ha ha he he, isn't that funny? Isn't that awesome? He's like a comedian, bro. Comedian brains are just different, man. We're just different breeds, bro. It's all the same conversations recycled over and over and over. And fundamentally,
what did I say? It's literally just irony.
Well, the thing is, here's the only part of the actual like video that he's right. Like if you have watched Joe Rogan's show at any point in time, that's literally what his show is. Like it's always been that. It's always been him talking about how he's a comedian and how comedian brains are different, and like he's bringing this up as if it's been any different than it ever was.
Was Joe Rogan talking about this before he is on this Christian arc?
That's what I mean. Like this moves the dialect in no direction whatsoever.
Oh, so he was doing this even when like he was having like Bernie Sanders on.
Yeah, like he's always done this. He's always been. He's always done this.
Yeah, but now he's doing it. Now he's doing it in a way that doesn't fit with his allegiance anymore, so it's bad.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So let's get back to Vanilla Vice here. I mean, come on, who bleaches their hair? What is this, 1998? I mean, come on, guys. I'm surprised he didn't just do frosted tips.
Oh my gosh,
dude,
I was resisting.
I low-key wanted to do frosted tips for the meme recently, but
I was resisting commenting on his physical appearance so hard, Mike. But you had to break the seal.
Listen, I just want to say later he's going to make the dumbest arguments against Christianity.
Oh, I know. My body's
from
ready.
Like 1995 nonsense arguments.
I can't wait.
We have like arguably this guy read the God Delusion and considered himself a philosopher. Like it's some of the worst. So I have no sympathy for him, and he's just attacking Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan doesn't think like him anymore. And it's ridiculous. Like maybe you're the problem, Kyle. Let's think about this.
And fundamentally, he has on a bunch of right-wing bullshitters. He himself has become a right-wing bullshitter.
By the way, explicit language warning, yada yada yada. Kyle can't control himself. He's very triggered by everything, so he's just going to go off the rails.
He invited Trump on and gave him a hot stone massage and then endorsed him afterwards. I know now he's trying to back away from the...
Okay, first of all, let's clear something up here. Joe Rogan invited Kamala Harris on as well. Kamala Harris wouldn't come on. Her team, members of her team, didn't want him to go on a right-wing bigot podcast. They wanted him to fly to them, do an hour interview with like all these hoops he would have to jump through. And Joe's like, I'm not doing that. This isn't a real conversation. So
yeah,
he invited Kamala Harris on, Kyle. It's not like he wasn't trying to reach out to both sides. The right, to their credit, agreed. They said, yes, we'll come on. You can even have JD Vance. Have us both on. The left didn't. So you're upset about this? No, be upset at your own side. Be upset at the Kamala Harris campaign. Don't get mad that Joe invited Trump on. He invited both candidates on. One went, one didn't.
Can I say something about this? So this is actually like a huge issue in media right now, because there was recently a clip that Jubilee put out where people were complaining to them. Like Jubilee, for those who aren't aware, is this show where they invite different people on to discuss. Like Than was on this one of their shows called Surrounded, where he was able to debate and quite successfully debate Alex O'Connor, in my opinion. But anyway, like Jubilee, they're known for bringing on opposing views, and one of the directors said that they're being accused of bringing on only right-wing voices, and they said, well, yeah, because every time we invite somebody who's left-leaning, they're very, very hesitant to be questioned on their beliefs. They say, well, can we heavily edit it, or can we control the questions or something like that. And they were like, no, that's just not our format. And so it's unfortunate that this is a reoccurring theme we're seeing, not to get political, but we're seeing this trend happen in social media and just in media in general. Because even Bill Maher, however you pronounce his name, he met with Trump recently, and Trump said that he's one of the very few people from the left who was willing to even talk with him, even meet with him. So it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, so I mean, like, don't get mad. Like, this is so weird. Like, your side won't go out and do the interviews, won't talk. Kamala Harris clearly didn't, and so you're mad that people are talking to politicians on the right.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not defending the right or the left here. We're just pointing out the odd situation. What are you whining about now? Like, if you want Joe Rogan to talk to the people on the left, get the people on the left to stop hiding. Unbelievable.
From this label of being MAGA, but there is no escaping it. You had him on. You didn't ask tough questions. You humanized him. You endorsed him.
Whoa.
How dare we humanize a human? They're humans and they need to be dehumanized because they don't think like me. Therefore, they should be like, that's, how dare we humanize people? Like this, the elitism, the ivory tower nonsense that other people who disagree with me are being humanized. It's absurd.
I remember hearing that line for the first time, and I was just like blown away. Like, Kyle, you just basically said the silent part out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things that like, and here's the thing, I personally am more right-leaning and more conservative, but one of my friends, Tim,
how dare
from
you?
one of my friends from the company, the New Evangelicals, they're more of a progressive, they're more of a progressive Christian news outlet, so to speak. And as much as I disagree with them, I agree, and I really respect the fact that they make it their platform to not dehumanize people. So that's what I really enjoy about them. The fact that this guy is saying that he humanized someone, like, as it's a bad thing or it's a pejorative, that, you're right. He's like telling on himself. It's actually really concerning.
Yeah. We don't want to humanize the right-wing peasants. Only us leftist elitists get to be treated as human. As it should be.
Sounds very...
You went to the fuck...
Bad mustache, Manny.
You endorsed him. You went to the fucking inauguration.
Whoops.
So it is what it is. This is who you are now. So he lost that childlike curiosity.
Therefore, Joe Rogan obviously has to agree with Donald Trump on everything. They can never disagree on anything now. This is like this identity politics. If you side with somebody on one thing, you must side with them on everything. It's what we were talking about a couple days ago, like with the Atheist and Robert Price. Just because Myth Vision wants to have on Robert Price, it doesn't mean he agrees with everything. But we see this coming out from people that tend to be politically left. And some people on the right, for example, like the woke right, for example. If you disagree or if you agree with my opponents on one thing, you must agree with them on everything. Yeah. And that's basic tribalism. That's not intellectualism.
Am I mishearing him here? Because it sounds like a few things are going on here. In the beginning of this video, he's like, Joe Rogan lost his childlike curiosity. He would have people on and explore all these things and blah, 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 blah. But the moment he has Trump on, it's, well, he didn't press him really hard and blah, 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 blah. Which, by the way, he didn't do that to Bernie Sanders either. Just saying. But somehow he has lost his childlike curiosity because he did the same thing with Trump that he did with all his other guests, which is an open discussion. Help me find the logic here.
No, there isn't. You can't find something that doesn't exist. What do you want?
It's just selective outrage.
Yeah, it definitely is crazy, man. So yeah, let's get back into this.
Curiosity. And boy, oh boy, do I have just a great example of this here for you. This is new. Now, I have to shout out, I believe it was the guys on the Vanguard, Zach and Gavin. They called this before it happened. They said, I think there's going to be like a Christian arc coming from Joe Rogan, because that's the trajectory he's on. You know, he went from like hippie adjacent pot smoking liberal and then he evolved into the enlightened centrist role, and then he evolved further into just standard right-wing MAGA guy. And if you're continuing on that trajectory, where do you end up? Well, one of the things you can embrace is fundamentalist Christianity, right?
Notice what he kind of just said there. He started out as this hippie liberal guy, then he evolved into an enlightened centrist, and then he evolved again into a Christian. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So if people
last
like
stage of
default that to go to
evolution.
Liberalism, is that evolving backwards? Is that default? It's evolving, but backwards.
He really didn't think that one through. He just
Yeah.
is angry and he's just ranting off all this stuff. But I mean, like, people change their views, Kyle. Maybe
Yeah.
you should try it sometime. I mean, Joe Rogan a couple of years ago was on his podcast saying that Constantine invented Christianity. That's incredibly stupid. Okay, people called him out for that. You know what Joe did? He learned. He moved on. He evolved, dare I say. He's like, you know what? Let me reevaluate my beliefs and change things and look at things. That's the way we're supposed to be, Cal.
And
Freaking
all
Cal,
God's
man.
people said, "Beast."
Amen.
Let's get back to NSYNC Cartman.
Because he's attracted now a mostly right-wing audience. So before I show you what's happening now, look at how he used to talk about these issues. For the longest time, he would always say, like, I'm an agnostic. I don't know. I don't really believe in God. I don't really believe in religion. I'm agnostic. I'm humble. I don't know about the mysteries of the universe. It was his, like, default common sense perspective, right? And he used to say stuff like this. Here we go. This is from when he was talking to Richard Dawkins, probably the world's most famous atheist. This is from about 5 years ago.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about your book was when you explained to people that everyone who practices a religion is an atheist. You're just an atheist in regards to Zeus or Apollo.
Or the 999 other gods.
Yes,
right.
and that's a home run with this argument.
Yes. Some of us just go one god further.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that really is a home run because
This is the guy that Kyle thinks was super intelligent, inquisitive, saying
man.
the dumbest arguments that have been debunked over and over again that atheist philosophers won't even touch because they're smart. This is the Joe that was super smart and inquisitive, and that's such a dumb argument on so many like how. Than, just take it from here because I'm just like trying to process all of this right now. Why is that a dumb argument, Than?
Because
Just take it one god further. That's all you have to do. It's a home run.
yes, it's not a home run because atheism, as defined in the literature, is the belief that there is no God or gods. In other words, theism is the proposition that there is a God, defined in the sense of perfect being theism. If you're just saying you believe in one less God than I do, you're not actually saying anything significant because you're using the word God in a different way when you're using God to refer to somebody like Thor. Like, this is such basic philosophy 101 that I don't understand how it's still around and people still tout it. Like you said, Mike, atheism has come back into its like intellectual form. And I'm glad about that because it's actually like fun to engage in that instead of this nonsense.
Well,
Somebody said that's not even a bunt.
yeah, it's
What did I
it's
say?
not.
A
That's
bunt.
not
No,
a
I'm saying
bunt. Oh,
somebody
yeah.
in the comments said that it's not a home run. It's not even a bunt.
It's so dumb because, as you said, we're not. When pagans or polytheists existed, they believed in a ton of natural gods.
Mhm.
That's not the same as an omnipotent, omniscient, eternal creator. Okay. They're not even on the same level. It's a category error. You're assuming all the gods are the same and we're just going one less. Like, it's not like pagans believed in several omnipotent, all-powerful gods. They believed in sometimes a creator, sometimes a limited creator like Aristotle. See the video reply I just posted to a Mormon today. Sometimes they believed in a bunch of gods. It's a completely different thing. And again, it's another ideology. You're just switching ideologies here. You're going from atheism to perfect being theism in a Christian form. It's not like it's not like a linear scale of like paganism, polytheism, and then henotheism, and then monotheism, and then atheism. Like, these are completely different things. It's not a linear scale at all because you don't just You don't just devolve into polytheism or monotheism, because our idea of God is completely different than their ideas of God. This should be basic philosophy 101, as you said. And this is what Kyle thinks is a brilliant point that Joe has gotten so much smarter. I'm thinking he realizes some of these arguments were not home runs. So obviously someone is growing and learning and becoming a better person. And Kyle's still stuck in 2012 with his frost tips. I mean, come on. I can't let it go. Every time I look at him, I'm just like, who did this to you? Who hurt you?
Man. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as an avid Joe Rogan listener myself, I used to listen to him all the time because, I was a bro. But yeah, Joe Rogan's arguments used to be so horribly uninformed. Like he used to say, "Are you a New Testament guy or are you an Old Testament guy?" Like, what? And like now, and recently I heard him say, like he understands the difference now between there being Christians who hold to old Earth creationism and young Earth creationism, and the arguments therein. It's like he's obviously doing reading, and now that he's in connection with Wes, like you can tell Wes is just feeding him a lot of more arguments and things like that. So yeah, he's getting smarter.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some super chats here. Let's jump into some super chats. Is there a way to join the Discord besides Patreon, donations, YouTube members? Also, Than, let me know if you have time. Quick role play. No, don't do role play. Okay, he's married. Anyway, you want to answer that question, Matt?
Yeah, so we just did a post in the Inspiring Philosophy Patreon about this. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to, if you're not even a free member, make sure to at least be a free member so you can get updates there. So people who are VIP, which is the top tier for Patreon, they have an automatic integration from Patreon to the new Discord server. It's already live and they already have access. We're going to be rolling out access to the Discord server a little bit at a time, for multiple reasons. We would love it if you guys would increase or upgrade your giving on Patreon so you can get access now. Because quite honestly, like we just need more funding. We want to make it so that Than can be full-time with Inspiring Philosophy, and your giving helps us to do that. So that's one reason. The other reason is we want the server to be secure, and we want it to be a really great place that's well done. And so that's going to give us more time to create more events, integrations, and things like that. Also, we want to make it so that whenever somebody donates or is a donor on our website, that they automatically get a link and get that integration. So we're still working on that before we make it go completely public. So keep that in mind. Right now, the only way to get access right now is to become a Patreon member at the VIP level.
Okay, excellent. So sign up to do that.
For the role play thing, probably not, to be honest with you.
He doesn't want to wear the dress again.
What?
He doesn't want to wear the dress again.
Well, that too, yeah.
So
shoot me a message.
Rogan says, isn't a dinosaur brain a bird brain? Yeah, and I got like a whole cage of birds up there, like an aviary going on in my brain. I got birds flying in and out of one ear. Bird brain power right here, super to the max. That's what I got. Okay?
Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Bird brain. Birds.
Bird brain. Rogan, you're supposed to say, okay, brain. Dinosaurs had the brain the size of a pea. That's what you're supposed to say if you ever saw the Bobby Butronic skit. Okay, come on, get with the program. Than, Dama is trash. Challenge you to Mubahala. All right, you've been challenged, Than.
Trash take.
Look, I know a Mubahala is like a contest or something like that, but I actually don't know what it truly entails. Are we fighting?
This is what you do. You go, you stand before them, and you say, I am right, and if I am wrong, Allah curse me. I say so that Allah will curse me, make my life miserable. Something to that effect. I don't know the exact phrases, but that's what a Mubahala is. And then whoever's life gets worse is obviously wrong.
Can we just throw hands instead?
You think that would be easier? Listen, I'm not saying it's logical. I'm just saying I'm glad I'm a Christian is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So weird. Joe Rogan is obviously closed-minded because he didn't come to the same concrete conclusions as atheists. Boom, Iron Eyes, you are right. Obviously, you have someone like Kyle who gets all his information from Joe Rogan 15 years ago and Richard Dawkins. I tried to say it with a straight face, but yeah, it's obviously, I mean, they solved everything. You don't need to listen to philosophers who do this for a living. Like, what did Michael Roos, the late Michael Roos, say, who was an atheist? That, what do you say about Dawkins' book? Like, what is it makes them ashamed to be an atheist, something like that. I don't know, something like that. Yo, philosophically inspired says, if I donate $500 for Than to shave his head, does that count towards my tithing?
Oh, Matt, go ahead. You can.
Why not? Sure. Because, like, what is a tithe, Mike? Can we talk about a tithe? Can we do a video about that?
We can, yeah. I mean, tithing is what you give to your church. What do you want to say? I'm confused.
No, I'm just being silly. Like, so some people, they think they can just tithe, quote unquote, towards anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a video that we should probably cover.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah. I mean, you're technically supposed to tithe to your local church, and then giving is added extra to organizations like us or ministries like us. So, but I mean, here's the thing though. There is no like New Testament setting on tithing and giving. You're just supposed to be a cheerful giver. People think you have to tithe 10%. That's not accurate. That is in the Old Testament. It's never prescribed for Christians. I don't think people that are living in abject poverty need to tithe 10% of their pennies. I think people that are extremely wealthy, or God has made you wealthy, to give more. If you are wealthy, it's a blessing and a burden in that you have to become a generous giver more than the average person. You just don't give 10% and then live on your yachts and mansions. I don't, so that kind of stuff needs to be considered as well. But do you want to address the 500 thing?
For me or for Matt?
Either one of you. Didn't we?
So yeah, let me go ahead and talk about that. So last stream we talked about, or Than mentioned, if we get $500, then Than will shave his head bald. And recently we had somebody give $1,000. I believe his name is Lucas. And so next Monday, live on Inspiring Philosophy, Than is going to shave his head and maybe other things.
No, that's for OnlyFans. We're not doing that on live on YouTube.
The other part will be exclusive OnlyFans content.
OnlyFans content.
This cow gives other cows a bad name. Also, he looks like he's 45 or 47% the way to be fully becoming Donald Trump.
I was about to say the suit kind of counterproductive there.
Iron Eye says, Than, check your donations. Hold up, let me see. Oh, thank you so much, Adam. You just gave us a $500 donation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we just said it was 1,000 that came in the other day. So, but we really appreciate it. All donations.
We can just make it a thing where if you guys just send money and with a request for me to do something funny, I'll do the thing so long as it's legal and not unethical.
Let's make it so that Than never has hair again. How about that?
Seriously, yes. But I mean, like, all donations are tax deductible. So you donated to a 501c3. That's tax deductible. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes,
it's going to happen. So thank you so much. All right, let's get back to our good friend Frosty Kyle.
Because this concept of, me and my friends jokingly would always say praise Odin when anything would happen.
Yep,
Was
yep.
Just hold on, go back. Watch Kyle in the corner here.
Oh, he's smoking
me and my friends
clouds?
jokingly would always say
he's blowing fat clouds on his little vape pen in the back.
Heck yeah, dude. Vape Nash. Vape Nash.
So edgy, guys.
He's blowing O's, bro. He's blowing those O's.
Say praise Odin when anything would happen. It was pretty good or cool.
Yes.
We say praise Odin, and I started doing it online, and people really got into saying praise Odin about certain things.
I rather like that. Yeah.
Some people got mad at me. They actually got mad. You are mocking Christianity by saying praise
Odin. Of course you are. Why not?
I wasn't even really. I was just.
What's up?
Can we just pause on the fact that Dawkins is like, I really like that.
so yeah, saying praise Odin. You're such an intellectual, sir. I must say, I wish I had thought of that for the God delusion. Go tell the Christians to praise Odin. We'll really get them now.
Oh, man.
Okay, bro.
Somebody wants to know, how much would it take for bald Mike?
My wife said my hair is priceless. I listened to her. It's not happening, folks. Sorry.
Okay.
No,
It's okay. You guys can just, I will be the guinea pig. It's okay.
My brother wanted me to shave my beard for his wedding that I was in. And my wife called him and said, this ain't happening. So if my brother can't even get that for his wedding. It tells you how important it is. So I'm not shaving. So sorry, folks. She comes first. But I appreciate the enthusiasm.
I was just having fun.
Yes.
I was having fun because Odin seemed like a cool god. You know, it's an old school god. You know, I mean, it's the god of the Vikings.
Douglas Adams wrote a lovely book called The Long Dark Tea Time of the...
And remember, folks, according to Anima Brenham, and some archaeological research, the Vikings engaged in human sacrifice. Very cool. So cool. So edgy, that Odin folk. Oh my. We love praising gods that people sacrifice humans in the name of.
Yep.
of the soul, in which the Norse gods are part of it. And Odin in that book has got old and senile, and he just lies in bed all the time and asking for clean sheets every day. And Thor is out there doing mischief with his great hammer. And things. At one point, Odin gets Thor super glued to the floor and thinks it's a wonderful story.
The vast number of different religions. The incredible number. I mean, how many actual religions are there?
Thousands.
Yes,
I forget how many thousand.
And many of them share similar belief systems. And it's really interesting when you see how they're like, the Noah's Ark story is very similar to the Epic of Gilgamesh. And there's so many that you see like, oh, they probably told this to someone else, and these people moved and
of course, yes,
it traveled on. And it's just amazing that concept is alien to people. When I was a boy, I was raised Catholic, and I had an aunt who was Jewish, and my uncle married my aunt, and he had a
So I mean, like with the quick Gilgamesh, and Noah's Ark comparison, I want to address this really quickly because this does bother people. Yeah, there's ton of similarities, but scholars like Mark S. Smith, in his book God in Translation, have pointed out there's not evidence of copying here that's so often assumed. There's no evidence of literary borrowing. Yeah. It's far more likely that there's a shared cultural heritage of some flood, and the stories just trickle down in multiple cultures. That's not coming from me. That's coming from Mark S. Smith, who's an expert in this kind of stuff. Correct. So keep that in mind when you're looking at that. If anything, the Epic of Gilgamesh is actually copying or getting its story from an earlier work called the Atrahasis or Eridugenesis, because we see a lot of literary borrowing there. So we can see literary borrowing from Atrahasis into the Epic of Gilgamesh. We don't see literary borrowing into Genesis, which tells us it's coming from a different culture. It's probably similar oral traditions for sure. But also the flood account in Genesis is actually far more logical in terms of it seems more realistic, surprisingly. If you set aside the numbers, which I think are mostly symbolic, just look at the order of birds. In Gilgamesh, they release a sparrow, a dove, and then a raven, which doesn't make sense. In Noah's Ark's story, they release a raven first, then a dove. Why is that important? Because ancient seafaring people used birds. They would use a raven first because it can fly further and longer. And so you release a raven first because it's going to fly in the direction of dry land. Then you release a dove. The dove can't fly as far, so it will come back to you if land is not close enough. What Noah's doing makes more sense with seafaring practices, whereas the Epic of Gilgamesh, is it's kind of a little bit more. It's far more mythical. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So even if you think Noah's Ark is mythical, Gilgamesh goes much further. So something to keep in mind there. Super chats are coming a lot, so I'm going to go through some more, which is great. Please keep sending them in. Jesus said God isn't real. The uncorrupted Injil. That's true. And Kyle has a copy. He knows what the uncorrupted Injil says. I bet he'd have to Google to know what we're talking about. I feel like the Christian conservative hasn't moved, but the political left keeps going further and further to the left. I get where you're coming from. I've kind of felt like that as well. I mean, take the LGBTQ stuff. Like in the 90s, they were like, we just want gays to get married. Now it's, we want children to transition. It does feel like that. And there's an example there. I mean, the culture war has definitely made, I think the left has gone too far in a lot of ways for sure. Mm-hmm. So you have people like, Elon Musk or Tulsi Gabbard who feel like, they've been betrayed by their side and they've moved to the right, which they'll say they haven't. But I mean, I'm not an expert on that. I'm sure some people would disagree. Isn't spiritual presence in the Eucharist considered a form of real presence? Depending on who you're talking to, yeah. I mean, Catholics will say no, it's got to be transubstantiation or nothing else. So it just can't be a spiritual presence. Anglicans might say that. Lutherans might be okay with that, but the whole Lutheran issue is, I think Lutherans are it's a mystery. We don't want to say if it's transubstantiation or not. They don't say consubstantiation, which is a big myth among Catholics. They're just like, it could be, but it's a mystery at the end of the day. They don't take a strong stance on that. So I don't know. It depends on who you're asking, really. I you know. So.
Personally, I feel like they're all saying the same thing.
Well, that's why you're wrong. Well, you can be wrong. It's okay. What's your?
It's this guy.
Is he trying to get me to say if I'm Catholic or not?
No, this is the guy who wants to debate preterism.
Matthew, what is this? Jesus saying that he'll be back?
Oh yeah, this is Matthew. This is the Son of Man will come with glory and the angels. And here's my take on this. If you read, let's see, 16. I think I've addressed this. So if you want to know my honest take on it, go and watch my video. Was Jesus a failed apocalyptic prophet? I cover this in many other verses in there as well. So, but the one thing about this verse is what happens right after it. Matthew 17:1, the transubstantiation. Both Mark, Luke, and Luke, and Matthew all put this saying right before the transubstantiation. And Dale Allison says, this is Jesus talking about the transubstantiation. Some of you standing here will not taste death till you see the Son of Man coming with his kingdom. And that's, they say, is inaugurated with the transubstantiation. They're seeing the kingdom in its power right there, what they're saying. So a lot of scholars are pretty much in agreement. This is about the I meant to say transfiguration. It's about the transfiguration. So that's what it's about. I'm on Fan's top level Patreon. Do I also get the VIP access, or should I switch over to IP's Patreon? Still want to support? Switch over. Yeah. All of Fan's supporters should be switching over. I'm sending him all the money he gets from that.
I just put out another mass message to all like leftover supporters still. Switch over.
Fan, I've given you just to verify.
Yes. You guys don't have to worry about that. If you're worried that Mike is gonna get like see the money coming in from you guys instead of for me, and Mike's gonna he's not doing that. If you do it on Patreon, just leave a comment with your giving, or if you do it through the Give Butter link and on the website, leave a comment saying for Than.
Yeah. The evolution thing is even worse because even on the non-hierarchy view, Christians are still fitter to survive the pot smoking lefties, which is true. Listen, Christian conservatives know how to survive in the wilderness, man. They can shoot.
Wait, what
they
is
can
this
take apart a
picture?
Post-transitioning. What even is this currency? Is this Wes Huff currency? Huff 1000?
Wes Huff.
Wes Huff.
Where's your currency? Where's the currency, Wes?
Where you at?
Yeah, what about that weird?
You could have at least made me a pretty girl. I look like a drag queen.
Fan, I think you're incredibly pretty. Don't you worry. That's a Hungarian thing. It's a Hungarian thing. He gave us 1,000 Hungarian dollars, which I'm sure is a lot of money here. It's $3. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. Kyle's politics are his religion, unfortunately. The man has spent 10 years not understanding the basic theism when his channel was named Secular Talk. Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. You'll see why with his...
I was just complaining to Matt about this privately the other day. It was just like people's epistemology and metaphysics, whatever you want to call it, is all backwards because the fundamental axiom is your political views and everything else has to be filtered through that lens rather than just like changing your mind and believing where the evidence leads.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back to this. Oh boy. All right, here we go.
They convert to Judaism, and it was like a big deal in the family. Everybody would talk about it, and there was no anger. Everybody loved my aunt; she's a great lady. But it was just strange that he was converting to this other religion. I remember I was 5 years old when this was going on, and I was like, wait, what do you mean another religion?
Yes,
I was like, what's going on?
Yes,
and they were like, oh, she's Jewish. I go, what does that mean? What do you mean she's Jewish?
Yes,
and they had to explain it to me.
Yes,
and I go, okay, but she believes in God. Like, yeah, they believe in God. Okay, so why is it a different thing? Well, they believe Jesus was a different kind of a thing. It was they don't necessarily believe he was the guy that we think he was.
But if
how is that so profound? Like when I found out about other religions, I was like, oh, okay, well, sucks to me then. I mean, like I was, naive and young, but I mean, like, That was never an issue. I don't understand how that was a big, profound thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I
was gonna ask you
didn't
guys
have
about
that
that.
experience growing up because I didn't grow up like as a Christian, but it never really
Mm-hmm.
like was profound to me at any stage.
I was going
in
to
my
ask you
life.
guys about that because that seems to be some weird objection that a lot of people hold against Christianity's validity. It's like, well, how come there's so many denominations? It's like some of them think different things about, but it's still like there's still like some type of unified foundational, thought about Christianity. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Why do you think that's?
It depends on who's making the argument. Like the Steelman version is going to be like, well, if an all perfect God exists, like he would clearly like communicate the theology very clearly so people wouldn't disagree and blah 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 blah. Like that's going to be the version of the argument probably that somebody
Mhm.
smart will try to give. But I don't think that's a good argument at
Well, I
the end
mean,
of the day
yeah.
either.
The atheists are a dime a dozen. There's atheists that believe in moral realism. Those that are not.
There's
You-
atheists that are
non-cognitive atheists.
fighting over politics and stuff.
Different political views. You have different views in terms. There's flat Earth atheists. Okay, like every group or ideology splinters, and there's subgroups of everything. Like this is just this ridiculous argument. I mean, I never understood why that was a problem. It's just the way it's human nature.
But if it had been Hindu, they'd have had to explain to you they believe in hundreds of gods.
Vishnu, and
Yes, yes.
yeah, and then we'd have to go way back. Yeah, it's just when you first hear that. I mean, that was probably put the first seeds of doubt in my head when I was a young boy. When I was like, wait, well, there's more than one. Like I'll never forget that moment because we're all sitting around the dinner table, and I was just a little kid, and I'm thinking, what do you mean? There's another one?
I think that's a very powerful way of getting to children is to just simply tell them that.
Yes.
Telling them nothing but facts. You're not indoctrinating them.
Right.
You're just telling them. There are lots of different religions, and Hindus believe in hundreds of gods.
I got my parenting cues from Richard Dawkins. He said, tell them nothing but facts. Next time I see my son, I'm going to say, Jesus is God.
It's a fact. This is utter nonsense. What they mean is tell children the facts I like.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they mean. So basically teach your kids secularism or you're indoctrinating them. Tell them the things I want them to believe or you're indoctrinating them. This is propaganda. This is manipulation. No, we're going to raise our kids with what we think is true. You can bug off. I mean, sorry, I've been in London too long, but
I
Jews
mean,
believe
he
in
does have some
one
truth
god, and
to-
Muslims believe in.
sorry, what were you saying?
Sorry about that. I agree with him to some extent in the sense that we shouldn't force our views on our children, but as it is a much better parenting practice to teach your children what you believe as a household, and also teach them that other people believe certain things. That's just not what we believe, and I think there's a middle ground there that can be found. But for some reason, atheists feel as though children are just naturally agnostic, and they'll just find the truth eventually or something.
Yeah, they're not.
That's bad
psychological
parenting.
literature does not back up the natural agnosticism.
Yeah, it's actually.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, I'm just going to say that's actually child abuse.
Yeah.
God, and Muslims believe in one God, and they don't believe in Jesus. And
So that's how he used to talk about it. This clip goes on, but that's how he used to talk about it. Just like a sort of default atheism or agnosticism where he questions everything because he's curious, and he's talking about how the stories don't add up. They really don't make any sense. These seem like ancient myths. Very clearly, he's anti-theist here. In other words, he doesn't think any particular religion is true. And as I...
Yes.
That is not.
When Joe used to think like me, look at how curious he was. When he was an anti-theist, he was at the top of his game. And now he's stupid because he changed his mind on things. I can't believe, how dare he? If he would be smart like me again, where I get all my cues from Richard Dawkins.
What is this definition of anti-theism he's working with, by the way? Anti-theism is not the idea that you just don't believe some of these things. Anti-theism is like an act of resistance against those beliefs. Like you're trying to eradicate them.
Yeah, that was weird to me too. I mean, if he was an agnostic, and if anything, maybe Dawkins is coming off as the anti-theist, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's get back to the back skeptic boys and their frosted tips.
As I always say, anti-theism in the sense that you don't believe all these different religions are true or one of them is true. That is like the most logical perspective. I can totally understand somebody who might disagree with me and believe in God or just believe in something beyond them. Like I totally get that. That I can level with. But I do not, by any stretch of the imagination, I cannot perceive of somebody signing up for one particular religion among 4,000 or more. Why? Because like you were raised with that from your mom and dad, so you happen to be correct. You happen to be the one that's right out of the thousands of all of them throughout history.
Kyle,
Is this just like him reading the Reddit thread right now?
like, have you ever considered that maybe someone is convinced of that religion? Like, no, like, have you ever even entertained the thought that Christians or theists in general are not just morons that don't ever think? Or are you that biased?
No, that would be
and elitist?
humanizing them, Mike, and that's not allowed.
Yeah, we don't humanize them. That's right. That's right. That's Kyle's first rule of Kyle on Secular Talk. Don't humanize people who disagree with you, as he said the quiet part out loud earlier. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, it's like the most logical position is to not believe in any religion. Well, what if there's actually evidence for those religions? Have you ever been bothered to check?
There is none.
Have you, or are you so arrogant and confident you just know there's no way they can be correct? Like, seriously.
He's humble. He's humble, right? He's humble, and he says that he doesn't know the answer to all these questions. So I don't know how that all adds up, to be honest with you. It's very inconsistent.
Let me throw this out. Kyle, I invite you to come on my channel to have a conversation with me one-on-one about the evidence for Christianity, the evidence for God's existence. Yep. You get full access to my audience. You don't have to promote it on your platform. Come on, let's talk about it. If you're so convinced that we are stupid and we don't study this kind of stuff, come on, let's talk about it. I will have you on, host you. Let's do it. Like, you seem pretty convinced that is the most logical position. Let's see what you've read. Let's see what arguments you're aware of. I can present several arguments for God's existence, and you can tell me what you think of them. I can give you evidence for Christianity. Let's do it. So if you're interested, come on. I'm ready and willing. We can schedule it today if you want.
Heck yeah, brother.
Yeah, heck yeah, brother. Let's get to some super chats here. Rogan says $1,500 now. Michael, shave your head as well. Nope. I am. My wife does not want that. I'm not doing that to her. Not going to happen.
That's
appreciate it, but she is not on board with that. IP, you always go live at the most inconvenient time. I demand you adhere to my specific schedule. You have reasonable arguments against doing that. Well, I'm not convinced. Oh, hi, fan. You got me, Opal. I don't know what to tell you. I apologize. You can challenge me to a mubahala, and I will let you win.
There you go.
Would you all consider having Than's channel Exploring Reality as like a sub channel where he can do live debates, Q&As, and maybe it can be another revenue? Yeah, we're looking into that option as well. It's on the table right now. We're just trying to get things built up here for sure, and then we'll definitely. That channel's not going to go away. I assure you.
I'm not deleting the channel. I'm just not really posting anything there anymore since this is my home.
Mm-hmm. Than, remember the Than fan club? What the?
Oh man, Mike. Yeah. So there's a community of people that have started a community called the Than Fan Club, and it's literally just a group chat with a bunch of people that really like me.
Nice. Well, guess what, guys? You can now move that group chat to the new Discord when it goes public, because there is a channel called the OnlyFans channel. And you can go crazy in there. It is age restricted, though. So you got to be old enough.
This is a Christian channel, Matt. This is a Christian channel, and you're age restricting Discord channel.
It is age restricted, but that doesn't tell you necessarily what kind of content is in there.
Right, you're both fired. Matthew 16:28. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Could have been fulfilled at the transfiguration in the next pericope. You're right, Slam. That's just what we went over. I bet that came in before we addressed it, but yep, absolutely right.
Thank you.
Odin is only remembered because of Christian monks. Yeah, that's kind of ironic. It's the Norse pagans didn't write a lot down. It was like people like Snorri Sturluson Icelandic historian writing down Norse mythology and the prose Edda and the poetic Edda, the Heimskringla, because that there was very much a Christian culture to preserve history, to preserve as much data as they could. So very much this was the case. It just wasn't the belief of a lot of pagans. They had to do that kind of stuff to write histories and chronologies of certain things. So yeah, a lot of that comes from Christian writers.
And you could do the most pagan thing there is, which is submit to Christ.
Alhamdulillah. Since you're criticizing Islam more, I think you should do a live stream for Muslims' new favorite prophecy of Islam in Daniel 2 and 7.
I don't know what is
I
that?
don't even know what this is referencing.
They're claiming,
like, you know,
they're claiming Daniel 2 and 7 is a prophecy of Islam.
of people like how?
Because they're idiots. They think the kingdom, and so the statue in Daniel 2, the kingdom sent from heaven that breaks up the statue is clearly the kingdom of Islam.
Okay.
Didn't last, guys. Or is there still? Where's your caliphate? Okay. Oops. Didn't think about that. Also, it comes according to the text. The stone that comes down comes right after the Seleucids and the Ptolemies, during or right after, because it strikes at the feet, which means it's like the next thing in the chronology. That's Jesus. Okay, it's not Islam. This is so bad. It's pathetic.
Yeah, but you still can't debunk Muhammad being in the Song of Solomon.
That's true. It's so obvious he's there, right in the middle, most sexy parts.
Can one of you guys read this? Yeah, can one of you guys read this in German?
Can you?
I'm gonna make inferences.
It does say, I already translated it. It says, hello, inspiring philosophy. I greet you with a holy kiss. Romans 16:16. I wish one of you would come to Germany someday.
You got to invite us to come speak. You got a church, you got a conference, invite us. We'll come speak. I will not speak 100%. German because I'm bad at life, but I will speak English like an American pro, and I'll speak on whatever you want me to, as long as you let me speak in English. Because, yeah, I don't have time to learn languages, and if I'm going to learn any language, it's going to be Hebrew or Greek or Spanish, because Spanish is like
Hebrew,
so popular.
Greek, and Japanese. You can watch anime without subtitles.
Yeah, you didn't let us try to butcher this, Matt.
Sorry, I just wanted you to read the Greek, not translate it.
Yeah. Yeah, but nobody's copying the story of the Al-Zut and Muhammad. We actually did that. Yes, from the Al-Zut train gang.
No. Oh no.
I gotta
look at their muscles.
This. I gotta screenshot this. Amazing.
That's crazy.
I had to read that to Stephen Boyce. If you want to know what that is, go watch the previous live stream where I get to read it to Stephen Boyce. I'm the first time in hearing it. I love this story. Why do you all think that attending church versus join a church? What do you spectator versus active participant? I think if you should join a church for sure, but attending a church is a good second.
Yeah.
But I mean, join a church for sure. Be active participant, volunteer, be involved in the community. That's going to help you grow the most.
100%.
Yeah. One more, and then we'll get back into the video here. Did Paul write the pastoral epistles? Yes, we believe he did.
Yeah.
Eric Manning on Testify's got some stuff. On here, let me I'll put this up here. So just the other day, Stephen Boyce went on History Valley. Now, History Valley is atheist. They post a lot of stuff we disagree with, but he had Stephen Boyce on in this stream here and interviewed him on this topic. Go watch that video at History Valley. Subscribe. I'm not there. Fixed it. I don't agree with everything they put out. Obviously, they put out a lot of stuff I disagree with, but it's good to get other opinions. It's good to hear other voices. And here, this is great that they were having a conversation, even though they don't agree. So yeah, check out this if you want to know about the authenticity of 1st, 2nd Timothy and Titus there. So that should be good. Okay.
Real quick, before we get back into the video, just want to say thank you guys so much for your super chats here. They really go a long way with what we're doing here in Inspiring Philosophy. Your donations first help to bring Than on full time. We would love to be able to do that. Right now, we're not fully able to do that, but your donations help make that possible. Not only that, but it's also helping Than. Currently, he is involved in some cutting edge research. Can you talk a little bit about that, Than?
Yeah. I actually just right before the stream started, I just joined like last second because I was in a meeting with the scholars I'm working with, and I guess I'll just as humbly as possible. This is what we're doing in New Testament studies is something that has never been done before, and the data is panning out in a way that is going to be like really strongly confirming of the reliability of the Gospels. There's 2 papers we're working on. So, but the one I just got out, it's looking really good and it's super nuanced. Like the scholar I'm working with and his team of master students in computer science. If that's a hint of something of the things to come, we're doing some really cool stuff. And I'm really excited about that because like there's going to be more of this happening as well.
Yeah. If you guys want to donate, the donation link is right below. Everything you donate through the website, we get 100% of. So it's not like Patreon where we only get, they take a cut. When you donate through what we have here, we get 100% of that. So, you'll be completely supporting us and not Patreon or PayPal. It goes right to us, we took a while for us to figure that out and get it set up, and I'm glad we did. So appreciate all the support we're getting. It's definitely helping a lot. Let's get back into Joe Rogan and Frosty tips.
It just seems so arrogant to me and like really deeply intellectually incurious, right? And so he's got this default anti-theistic perspective, but as you all know, as time has gone by, he likes inviting on right-wing guest after right-wing guest after right-wing guest. It doesn't matter what field. They could be MMA, they could be a comedian, they could be a pundit, they could be an actor, but it's like just a constant flow of right-wing guests. And
Kyle, did you ever think that maybe liberals and leftists are not coming on because they're hiding? They want to control. They were in echo chambers. We've seen this again. He invited Kamala Harris on during the election.
Yeah,
Kamala Harris. Okay, she didn't want to come on. So maybe you'd think if he's doing this, it's because those are the people willing to come on. You know who also said this? Bill Maher. Bill Maher said this a couple years ago. He would invite right-wing people on. They were begging to get on his show, even if they don't agree. He had a hard time getting leftists to do the same kind of thing, to go on like right-wing shows. So maybe it's your side you need to talk to. I know you're not like that. You go on right-wing shows. I've seen you do it, but maybe it's your side. Think about it.
And so when you're in the environment of everybody around you believes the same stuff and they say the same things and they're all Trump supporters, you saw him change over time. And now we get stuff like this. Take note of how different this sounds. Ready? Here we go.
Well, space is the ultimate who the fuck knows, because we can only see so far. We see so far, but even so far is only so far.
Well, and then they're saying like it's always expanding, which that can't be true, because like what is it expanding into? If space is space, you know, if they're like, oh, it's like blowing up a balloon where everything's okay, but you're blowing up a balloon in a room,
right?
So what's the room that you're blowing the balloon into? And then that's in a bigger room, and then that's in this.
And then there's the concept that it's actually finite. It's not infinite, and it's some sort of donut shape. It like goes back around eventually.
But then who made all
Wait a
that?
minute.
Right?
Like, is there?
Can Mike, you're smirking. I want to know, what are you thinking about what he's talking about?
First, I'm thinking about think of what just look at the progress. Joe Rogan is talking to Richard Dawkins in the earlier clip of this really dumb argument that atheist philosophers don't even take seriously. Now he's talking to someone about space-time and the expansion of the universe. He sounds far more intellectual. I'm not saying Joe Rogan is publishing in like cosmology journals, but he sounds far more interesting. He sounds far more intelligent here.
They're asking a really deep metaphysical question here too. Like, this is actual curiosity at this point, because it is an interesting question if space is expanding, but what is it expanding into? And that's like a real question that metaphysicians and cosmologists and cosmogonists are all wrestling with. Like, this is really deep stuff, and this is like, oh, but you lost your curiosity. Like, it's just you're telling on yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, how is this Joe Rogan version doesn't sound like he's got childlike curiosity and inquisitiveness and intelligence here? Because he doesn't think like Kyle. So Kyle can't even picture in his mind that Joe is still the same guy, just with different views now. But like anyone looking from a non like super biased perspective or super whiny perspective is going to be like, yeah, he sounds pretty inquisitive, childlike curiosity here. I don't get it, Kyle. Why can't you see that?
There a God? Did God make this?
Or is God the universe?
Yeah, but then who made God? And then that bothers me.
Yeah, this is, first of all, Joe Rogan sounds so Christian right wing,
Yeah, I was just
positing
gonna say.
pantheism as a possibility. Like, oh, that's, yeah, we Christians are totally into pantheism and saying the universe is God. Like, Kyle, how do you not see this?
Why would that bother you? By the way, I think this guy's a Christian. He's had a bunch of like weird Christian apologetics people on lately.
Okay, Kyle.
Well, let's
That
pause
to me,
there are other reasons for something like that, the whole, well, what caused God question to bother you, other than the fact that maybe it just doesn't line up with your theology. It could just be the fact that he doesn't like the concept of infinite regression, and that's what's bothering him. But but that'd be humanizing him, I guess, to be
we don't.
charitable. Yeah.
Kyle does not like humanizing people that don't agree with him on everything. Okay, we know that about him now.
Christian. He's had a bunch of like weird Christian apologetics people on lately. That to me, that's the trump card, no pun intended, of people. Oh, the world is so complex, so you needed a God to create it because the complexity is too much for it to just happen naturally. That's the argument. But you just got to go one step further and say, okay, well, who created that God? Because obviously that God, by definition, would be more complex than the world and the universe and everything in it, because they had the ability to create the world and the universe and everything in it. So they have to be even more complex. So then by your own logic, who was the super God that created the God? And then again, who was the super God who created the super God who created the God who created us? The logic falls apart. And notice, there's no attempt to even react to it. He's just like, oh, I hate that.
We just witnessed pure cringe, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is one of the arguments that the atheist
every single
philosopher,
person in this room is now immediately dumber because of the words that you have just said. May God have mercy on your soul.
I mean, even the atheist philosopher said that when Michael Roos said that when Richard Dawkins made this argument, he was ashamed to be an atheist because this is so dumb. Kyle, let me try to explain it for you in simple terms here. Okay, we don't say everything that's complex needs a creator. No contingency argument. Okay, a contingency argument. You know what? Never mind. Okay, no contingency argument says everything that's complex needs a creator. The universe is complex, therefore the universe needs a creator. That argument doesn't exist. Okay, nowhere have we made that argument. No philosopher of religion, as far as I'm aware, has made that argument. The argument has been something like everything that is contingent would imply that it has to be created by something. Everything that comes into existence or everything that begins to exist needs a cause. Those are the arguments we use. No one has said because something is complex, therefore it needs a creator. And this whole infinite regress argument is so incredibly bad. It just shows you don't understand basic natural theology or basic philosophy of religion here. Okay. The simple argument behind the contingency argument is that there needs to be a first cause. This goes back to Aquinas and Augustine. Okay. There has to be a first cause. Whatever that first cause is, even atheist philosophers like Graham Oppy will note. Okay. Maybe you should read Graham Oppy. It has to be necessary. So it makes no sense to ask who created that because it's necessary. It's the first cause. It brought everything else into existence. You can't have an infinite regress of things that doesn't explain anything. It's like to give an analogy. If I were to say I'm going to borrow, if you came to me and wanted to borrow a book from me and I said I don't have it, I have to go to my friend and ask for the book. And he says, I don't have it. Let me go to my friend. He goes to his friend and he says, I don't have it. Let me go to my friend. And that's an infinite regress. Does the book exist? No, it doesn't. Likewise, if you have an infinite regress of causes, you don't have an explanation. So there needs to be a first cause, a primary mover, and we say that is God. Atheists disagree and say it's something else, some sort of non-sentient necessary thing. Okay, could be the universe, could be something else. Read Graham Oppy. Okay, the fact that you think this is a good argument shows us all how little you know about these subjects.
Yeah, not to mention the whole issue with the complexity topic, because
Mhm.
if you'd read some natural theology, you'd understand that theism is actually a very simple hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, for sure. Very simple. I mean, I was just reading Ryan Byerly today on perfect being theism, and how simple it is. Brian Leftow as well, because I was doing some stuff for Unbelievable here in Britain, for example. So I mean, like, there's so much literature on this he just doesn't seem aware of. It's something. But yeah, that's a good argument, guys. Yeah.
Well, I don't care if you hate it. It's logically sound and it makes sense to me. Are you even going to try to rebut it, or are you just going to you believe it when the atheists say that, bro?
Not a thing that we think that
not
like
even Joe that
because
said that, by the way. It's Joe's guest.
Yeah, Joe didn't even say it. He's tripping.
Kyle, I'm begging you to debate me. Kyle, please debate me on does God exist?
I'm low key sad that you said it first, Mike, because I want to do it too.
I'll debate you on does God exist? Did the resurrection happen? I'll debate you on which is better for humanity, Christianity or secularism? Did Christianity harm science or help science more? We can debate the moral argument. I mean, like, anything, for the love of God, sir.
So real quick, some people are still kind of confused as to how you answered the, who created God. Can you guys just break that down in its simplest form, like why that argument doesn't work?
Yeah, why don't you do it, Than? I talked a lot about it.
Sure. Okay, so if we're going to give any sort of contingency argument or any kind of argument from causation or anything like that, right? Like if we just go with contingency, because that's what you brought up, Mike, right? The basic idea is there's contingent things and there's necessary things. Contingent things are things that can fail to exist, cease to exist, or could have been otherwise. So like this phone, right? Contingent, it did not have to exist, right? Something necessary, by contrast, is something that cannot not exist or could not have been different in any other particular world. So with that in mind, all the argument is that contingent things have explanations. Very simple thing in there, right? From there, we're just saying that the totality of all of contingent things cannot be explained by a contingent thing. That would be that'd be circular. That'd be like saying, again, phone example, can we say that the totality of all the phones in the world be explained solely in terms by this phone? You'd clearly say, well, that can't be the case because something outside of the phone had to be at least part of the explanation for why the phone exists. That leads us to this conclusion: something necessary has to exist. Now, we have necessary things, since they have to exist and cannot not exist, are going to lack explanations for their existence. And then another stage of the argument would just be, we're going to say that the best explanation of what this necessary thing is God. And somebody else might say it might be the initial state of the universe. That's what Graham Oppie likes to pair it with. And so this solves the problem of the infinite regression of gods, because we're both positing something necessary at the end of the day. We don't need to posit another god to explain the necessary being that we're already positing, because that would just be logically inconsistent.
So the way I mean, in dumb guy language, I'm the dumbest guy here. So like, I'll try and help with the layman's. Let
me give one more analogy here really quick, and maybe this will help.
No, well, then
just really
let
quick.
me finish.
Wait. This is actually going to help, I think, Mike. Okay.
Go for it.
The reason why, even if the universe is infinitely long into the past, okay, that doesn't help at all is this. Imagine you have like an infinite set of dominoes. And now you can, in that chain of dominoes, you can explain why one domino is hitting the other and the other and the other all the way back into infinity. But I can still ask a weird question, which is, why do I have this infinite set of white dominoes instead of this infinite set of black dominoes? Or why not an infinite set of turtles rolling on top of each other or something like that? Just changing the quantity of things doesn't make something necessary or something not have to have an explanation. I'll stop there.
That doesn't help. But anyways, in the simplest terms possible that I can come with, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it's the reason the argument who created God doesn't work is because everything needs to have something that's uncreated, something that's necessary, that everything is founded upon. And so we say that no one created God because he's the uncaused cause. Is that about right?
Yeah, there's got to be something that started everything.
Yes.
It makes no sense to have an infinite regress. The Little Russia Michael, do you know that some Christian rappers follow you on social media? I'd love to see your reaction to some songs. Who?
There's a
What
couple.
Christian? Who? I know no Christian rappers. I'm as pasty as they come. You think I'm cool? Then I know what rappers are. Christian rappers message me to tell me who you are and help me be cool. I'm just
There's
a
one.
whimsical skedaddler over here. I don't know anything about being cool.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Whimsical skedaddler.
Oh, you don't get the reference.
No, I guess I don't.
He missed that. He missed that stream.
You missed that stream, yeah, where we played a video. I think I lost it. I put it somewhere, and I don't remember where I put the video of it.
I don't.
The
Is it
whimsical
bad that I don't
skedaddler.
watch? I don't watch anything that I don't consume content at all. To be honest with you, so
I'm disappointed in you.
One rapper that's on Instagram that follows you, his name is Datin, I believe, Datin tripled. He's got about 70,000 followers on Instagram, and he's always.
Oh, I know him.
commenting.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Yeah.
he was a rapper.
Mhm.
That's how out of the loop I am. Okay.
I'm not a rapper. Jacket, glasses, shirt.
Listen, I'm not. I never said I was good at life. Okay, I'm doing my best. So
I'm pretty
there's
sure
one.
that. Sorry, I'm pretty sure that KB and No Big Deal also follow you.
We should collab with them.
Who's KB?
I know
Let's
KB.
write a diss track
I-
against
listen,
next
you-
response. We got to write a response video that's a diss track that's a collaboration with one of the Christian rappers. Do you know how fun that'd be?
That would be amazing. I'll talk with KB about that.
Let's do it. We're setting
Oh.
it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Mike's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
this sounds gnarly, guys. Okay, me and
Gnarly.
Gnarly. We're gonna go shred the gnar, guys.
Oh my gosh.
I'm doing my my best at life. I don't know what you want from me. I gotta find the whimsical skedaddler thing. I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. Matt, do you remember where I posted that in Slack? I don't remember.
No.
Darn it. Okay, I'll find it later. Let's get back to some super chats here. Off topic, but did you all see God Logic destroy Ali on with his own toy? Haha, so powerful. I didn't see it because I've been busy doing stuff for Unbelievable, but I have been meaning to watch. Yeah, I've not seen it yet. I may not know who Matt is, but seeing as he is a meme lord, I like him. Oh, hi, IP and Thanos.
I run memes for Jesus, by the way.
I love Matt.
Stop being gay, Than.
No.
IP, there is a former pastor who has a channel named Darante Lamar. I would like to see you respond to some of his videos. Yeah, I've not heard of him.
Durante.
This is the guy who used Chat GPT as his whole
Oh,
video.
the video
that we
you
talked
sent
about.
me?
I believe so.
Oh,
I think you sent it. No. I sent it to you, and you were like, "This guy used Chat GPT for his entire video," and it was just like he looked up, arguments against Christianity or arguments against New Testament reliability.
The guy that you said his mic placement really bothered you?
Yes.
Wait, did he respond to me on
I am
something?
planning on responding to that either through blog or video or stream. So
There's a new YouTuber by the name Durante Lamar who used to be a former pastor and now he's an atheist, and he's putting out videos talking about why he's basically parroting a lot of common atheist objections against the Bible. And then Dan watched it. He's like, he literally got this entire script from ChatGPT.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
a lot of atheist YouTubers are doing that. It's really easy to spot.
I just, man, I can't. Sometimes, if you got to keep calling yourself a free thinker and you're using ChatGPT, don't talk to me. Okay.
Right.
I think Matt 1628 in Parallels in Mark is also fulfilled at the cross, the full revelation of the kingdom. I would agree. Yeah. Thank you, Quay, for becoming a channel member. Much appreciated. If it's true, how come I disagree with it? Vibes. Yeah, that's what Kyle gives off. Absolutely. As a missionary in Islamic West Africa, I've enjoyed your recent stuff with Wood and AP. Well, guess what? More is coming, ladies and gentlemen. I can promise you that. Do you have any videos on kingdom theology and why Christians should join denominations and not be non-denom for greater Christian influence? No, because we're ecumenical here.
Yeah.
We're trying to build Christianity, not divide. And I think that would cause more division right now. It's arrogant to come to a conclusion. Yes, Gabriel, that's what Kyle's point is. If you can come to conclusions as long as he approves of them. Otherwise, you are clearly no longer a free-thinking, whimsical skedaddler. post-Theanitioning, it's the same fallacy. Leftism is default, and the right is the exception or result of indoctrination, like how atheism is the default. Yeah. Pretty good there. All right. We'll get to some more here in a minute. Let's jump back into this video here.
Say that, bro.
Not a thing that we think that, like, because we were born and we die, that we have these biological limitations that we attach to the universe itself.
That's fair.
Right.
That we see things as being built and destroyed.
That there's always been something.
And-
Well, wouldn't it be crazier if there wasn't something at one point in time?
Yeah.
That seems even crazier. Then there
Right.
always has been something. Because if it's just something, if it's just the nature of everything, there is always something, right?
Right.
It couldn't be nothing and then all of a sudden everything. That
Right,
seems
because what started that? What kicked that off?
Exactly.
What snapped its fingers? Like
that's McKenna's great line. Terrence McKenna had a great line about the difference between science and religion is that science only asks you for one miracle. I want you to believe in one miracle, the Big Bang.
Yeah. That's a good one.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
It's because it really is true.
Yes.
And it's funny because people would be incredulous about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, but yet they're convinced that the entire universe was smaller than the head of a pin, and for
Right.
no reason that anybody's adequately explained to me. It makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Instantaneously became
Yes.
everything.
Okay, so to be clear, this is not entirely accurate. That is a common misconception about the Big Bang, but it's not that it was a tiny pin. It's that would be the space-time boundary point, beyond which our physical equations, our math, our physical laws of the universe break down and no longer apply. So if it was like the size of a tiny pin, we would be describing it in terms of space, like it's a pin filling up space. So that's not what physicists like Paul Davies are going to say. It was never a pin. It's just
The
the space-time boundary point. Yeah, initial expansion point. Yeah.
Joe pretty much ran the contingency argument there in essence, though, there too.
Yeah.
Because he's like, we have something, and there couldn't have been nothing. Why do we have something?
But who created this something, Than? And who created that something?
That's logical to me.
He's getting close.
He's getting
He's
close.
getting close to just doing the full Christian bit here.
This is funny what Kyle says here.
Everything.
He's getting close. He's getting close to just doing the full Christian bit here.
He just said Christians basically advocate for the Big Bang, like and basic natural theology here. Like it's Christian to ask
Doing the
questions
Christian
and be
thing. They're being
inquisitive.
curious and using logic.
Like it's like Kyle. He's asking questions after you just said he's no longer inquisitive and has childlike curiosity. Now you're saying that's the Christian thing to do. You're so upset and triggered. You don't even know. You're contradicting yourself and don't know what to say.
So now he's
not abiding by the
questioning.
hive
He's comparing the Big Bang.
What was that?
I said he's not abiding by the hive mind. That's the problem.
Did you see? Mm-hmm.
Questioning. He's comparing the Big Bang to the resurrection of Jesus, and he's trying to make it seem like, well, obviously the Big Bang is equally as absurd, if not more absurd, than the resurrection of Jesus. The difference is there's actual evidence for the Big Bang, and there's really not for the resurrection of Jesus. So that's the difference, right? But he's not done yet.
Dan, there's no evidence for the resurrection. There's not been any books written on that showing all the evidence for the resurrection. There's none.
I just want to know this, Kyle. If you think testimony is evidence, but you're going to deny that testimony is evidence for the resurrection, I just want to know how that works out in a way that you're not denying math. But also, like, he's not arguing against the Big Bang. And if I misunderstood Kyle here, sorry, but like, it sounds like Kyle's like upset because Rogan's just pointing out to the conceptual weirdness of the Big Bang as he understands it. And somehow he thinks that like it's actually crazier that somebody rose from the dead than Joe Rogan's conception of the Big Bang, which is like something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why is it crazier? I know why. Because it's religiously significant, probably.
Speaking of religiously significant, who came up with the Big Bang theory? The Catholic priest George
propagandist.
Propagandist Catholic priest George Lemaitre's. And he was mocked by atheists like Fred Hoyle, who held to the steady state model because the Big Bang was too religious sounding. We can't have a beginning of the universe because then we need a creator. And where did George Lemaitre get the inspiration to start pursuing his model, which he called the primeval atom? His own private notes show us he was getting inspiration from Genesis 1, where God said, "Let there be light." That was the inspiration. That was his motives to say this is probably the origin of the universe, and he turned out to be right. And atheists like Fred Hoyle were totally against it. Why? Because that's a theistic belief to say the universe has a beginning. We believe in an eternal universe. We can't have a beginning because then there has to be a creator. So again, Kyle, how much of this have you actually studied?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't buy that.
I'm sticking with Jesus on
Yeah.
that one. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus makes more sense.
I'm sticking with Jesus. Jesus makes more sense. One more time.
Well, space is no reason that anybody's adequately explained to me. It makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Instantaneously became
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't buy that.
I'm sticking with Jesus on
Yeah.
that one. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus
So he can't buy the Big Bang. He's sticking with Jesus.
makes more sense.
I don't think that's what Joe is saying. I think he's saying that he's saying the philosophical idea, which I don't even think a lot of atheists hold to, that nothing created everything. You're not going to get that from any intellectual atheist or philosopher. But I mean, like, yeah, that would be crazy. And yeah, so that's what he's not attacking the Big Bang, Kyle. Get your information right. You're straw manning.
Yeah. This whole thing is just him telling on himself, man. He doesn't either. Just I don't know what's actually worse. Either he actually just does not comprehend the literature that encompasses these arguments, or he does, and he's just purposely misconstruing them for the purposes of his political demagoguery. I don't know which one's worse.
I don't know.
It could be both.
What happened to that old Joe Rogan? The old Joe Rogan, who was anti-theist, and he had repeated multiple times on his show that he's agnostic. He just doesn't know. He says, maybe there's a God, maybe there's not a God, but I don't know. And I'm not really convinced by anything I've seen. Now, he's saying the Big Bang is ridiculous and the resurrection of Jesus is more legitimate, even though the evidence is the exact opposite direction, where there actually is evidence for the Big Bang. And there's no...
Okay, Kyle, what is the actual evidence for the Big Bang? Do you actually know? I'd be very curious to think if you actually know why we believe in the Big Bang and not like the steady state model.
The evidence is that the scientists say it happened.
What is the evidence? Yeah. How do you know it's not a big crunch? I can show why it's not. The big crunch is false. Can you? What is it? Like, wow.
No evidence for the resurrection of Jesus. Okay. Ready? We're not done.
So, by the way, Kyle, there have been books upon books written on evidence for the resurrection. Just pick up Mike Lacona's book, The Resurrection of Jesus. There's a ton of evidence for the resurrection. There's so many books out there. In fact, Andrew Loke's book on the resurrection is free. You can download it right now.
So then he has this guy on. Again, this guy's a super Christian dude. And here's what they say.
I really like the way that Jordan...
I mean, he's got the muscles of a superhero, so I'll give you that.
Yep.
Peterson articulates it, but I think he misses the forest for the trees.
How so?
In that he sees Jesus as an archetype. And I don't think actually even Jesus gives you the opportunity to see him as the archetype. Because I have this love-hate relationship with all of Peterson's stuff, because he seems to get so much right where he walks up to the line, but he doesn't want to cross over.
And is the crossover, you think, connected to a life in academia? Or?
So do you understand what he's saying there? He's saying, I love that Jordan Peterson flirts with Christianity, basically effectively argues that Christianity is true, but he refuses to say, I think Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior and he was resurrected. That's the point this guy's making. He's like, why don't you just say that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior?
What do you think it is?
I wonder, and I'd love to talk to him about this, like how do you remedy this issue that, because he seems to think that the concept of Jesus as an example is more important than the actual flesh and blood first century itinerant Jewish preacher who was crucified and rose from the dead physically, which is the claim of the Gospels and the rest of the New Testament.
So see, this guy, the whole point of this guy is to do Christian propaganda. Joe wanted to have a conversation with a guy who's doing Christian propaganda, who's arguing the resurrection of Jesus Christ was literal.
Kyle, are you okay? Did someone hurt you? Like, how is it propaganda?
Guys,
propaganda.
I'm really mad because this guy that's talking about how he's mad about this guy that won't join my cult, his cult, is taught like he's talking to the guy that left my cult, and it's propaganda. Do you not see the irony? Like,
you just can't call everything you don't like propaganda. Like you're good. That's good. You're gonna desensitize it, and then no one's gonna take that word seriously. Kind of like
ironically, calling it propaganda is itself like gonna be propaganda.
He's gonna turn it into the word racist. Now, you know, anyone gets called a racist, we just roll our eyes and go, "Yeah, everyone's a racist." It doesn't think like you on the left. We get it. It's gonna become like that. Like if it's propaganda, explain why it is propaganda, because he's not said anything that is propaganda. He's just explaining basic Christian doctrine.
That's an example for us to look on and live by. But I actually think that Jesus condemns moralism. And ultimately what I see Peterson doing is looking at Jesus as a moral example. And if Jesus is nothing but a moral example, then you can save yourself and you don't actually need a savior.
See what he's saying? So Jordan Peterson, you don't go far enough. You need to be more Christian. You need to think the Bible's literally true. You need to think Jesus literally rose from the dead. Why are you just flirting with Christians and acting like Christians are the best and Christians are the most moral and Christians have a good story at the core of their religion, and that's why you should sort of be in league with them? Why don't you just go further and say, you know, Jesus is our God?
And so,
yeah, Kyle, you hit you said it perfectly. Why doesn't Jordan Peterson just admit that we're right? Like that yeah. like what's the problem here? Like what is the problem? Like, this is normal Christian stuff. We want people to profess Jesus rose from the dead and is Lord. Do you even know? And do you know any Christians? Like, this is nothing profound. This is
I don't really
normal
understand
Christian
what he's so
stuff.
upset about here.
He's upset that Christians are getting attention and not him. That's all I can. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but like, honestly, like what is there to be upset about? Nothing.
And so I think actually Jesus would have critiqued that, because Jesus was very against moralism.
And how do you define Jesus being against moralism? Like, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, Jesus looks at the religiosity of his day with like particular groups like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who are these other groups of Jews during his day. So we talked about the Essenes, who actually aren't mentioned in the Bible, but there are other groups like the Pharisees, who are like lay scholars, and the Sadducees, who are professional priest scholars. And he's constantly critiquing the fact that they have this hypocritical religiosity to them, where they're doing things like tithing their mint leaves, like to make sure that they get all of, this is where we get the idea of the letter of the law versus the intention of the law. Like, Jesus critiques them for that, because he says, you're trying to do everything right and you're missing the point. So one of the things he says is like, if your donkey falls in a ravine on the Sabbath, do you pull it out, or does that work? Like, what's the point of the Sabbath? Is it to not do any work? Like, is it to make sure that you're not working too hard because you might be breaking the Sabbath? Or like, what is the point? He says, like, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. And that there's this intention. This is the whole Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, is he keeps saying, you have heard it said, but I say, and he refers to the Mosaic law. And it looks like he's critiquing the Mosaic law, but he's not actually. He's getting back to the intention of the law. So when he says, you know, you have heard it said, do not commit murder, but I say to you, anybody who harbors a hate for their brother in their heart has already committed murder. And what he's getting to is like, what's the intention? What's the meaning of the law that God gives to you? Because the law is like a mirror. It shows you how dirty you are. But his critique is, he's like, you guys are trying to clean yourself with a mirror. That's stupid. It's just gonna, if anything, it's gonna make you more messy. Like, get in the shower. The law is not what cleans you. The law is what reveals that you're dirty. And so in that sense, I think, you know, if Jesus is a moral example, it actually misses what I think Jesus actually said about what his purpose was.
So in other words, he's our literal God. Stop just using him as an example and an archetype in a story, and go all the way. Join the cult.
In that.
That's right, folks.
Yep.
The world's largest religion in the world is a cult, according to Kyle.
They think he's God.
Cults? They think he's God. That must make them all a cult, those billions of people.
Yeah, let's just use the most inflammatory language we can every single time so we can minimize the utility of the words that we're trying to use.
Yeah, he's gonna desensitize the words. He's crying wolf too many times, so the next time he calls something a cult or propaganda, it's just gonna be normal language. You know, people abuse words. It's like, again, call us a racist. Okay, yeah, you call everyone a racist. We don't care.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jude, for the super chat. Post-transitioning, science struggle with obtaining such pure cringe. You're right. Post-transitioning, this is beyond cringe. Wish we could get to this type of cringe. I think all the bleach in Kyle's hair has leaked into his brain. Thank you, Sassy Dan. You're absolutely right. Yeah, just so you two know, my internet just got really, really unstable here in Britain. So if I drop off, just keep going without me. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, just let you know. Here we go. You take Matthew 16 as the transfiguration when it says the Son of Man will come with the angels in the glory of his Father and repay everyone. We see this as initiating the kingdom when that's going to happen as part of it. Again, as far as I can tell, most scholars agree this is talking about the transfiguration because they all put it right before it. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So, I mean, this is something where I believe the consensus is on my side. So, yeah, I don't see that. Again, just
watch the video.
Watch the video. Was Jesus a failed apocalyptic prophet, please? Okay. I recently asked if you could make a video about biblical canon. I know there's a podcast and such. I was hoping for something more concise that I can share. Yeah. Again, I apologize, Zero, but there's a lot we got to get to. It's on the list, I assure you.
Yeah.
Any plans to respond to quantum God objections? Yeah, in the future when we get time. Also, Dr. Joel Koreko's new videos fire. Yeah, I replied to Dan McClellan on 2 Kings 3 and If God Lost the Chemosh. So go to Joel Koreko's channel. It's just Joel Koreko, and you can watch that now. JP says Mormons believe that atonement starts in Gethsemane. Is this true, or does atonement purely happen on the cross? Well, it depends on your theory of atonement, for starters. I would say for me, it could start there based on how you interpret some of Jesus's words, but it's not I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Like when.
Uncorruptible.
Yes, the uncorruptible in Geo does say Than is gay. Yes,
I guess I got to tell my wife. I didn't even know this about myself. So
what's in the uncorruptible in Geo, so it must be true.
Yeah. I feel like I like men.
All right, well, let's just get rid of you then. I'm kidding.
Somebody's gonna clip that mic.
It's a tradition.
Apologist kicks.
We all know jokes. We live in a post-joke era, ladies and gentlemen. There's no room for
We're
jokes
just built
anymore.
different, man. Comedians are
inspiring philosophy.
Attending a church.
Sorry, I was going to say inspiring philosophy kicks gay man during Pride Month.
Speaking of amazing videos, here I found you the video file, Than. So
okay,
let me get this up for you. Because
you have
to. Yes, this is amazing.
And some of you say white people don't have any culture. Then what is this? I don't think you understand the heritage and athleticism it takes to be a professional, whimsical skedaddler. Is what I'm saying? Watch it.
Amazing. The athleticism.
Oh my gosh. I don't think
I want to be a whimsical skedaddler. I can't do it because I don't smile, so it's a problem for me. Discuss attending church versus joined a church. Okay, so attending a church is you just attend weekly. You're not an actual member. You don't go through a member initiation class. You don't go for something like RCIA, for example. That's a problem. You don't really volunteer. You don't hang out. You don't have a Bible study. You just go every Sunday. That's great. Do that. But go the next step. Become a part of the church. You become a part of the church family. For sure.
Yeah. It really means something when you become part of a church community and you're helping that community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will you be at Speaker's Corner with GL this Sunday? No, I will not. And the reason is because my parents planned a family vacation that they paid for months ago before I knew about anything going on in Britain. And so family comes first. I will be with them in so I'm flying out Saturday morning to go on that family trip. Because my parents are getting old. They want more family trips. They want to spend more time with their grandchildren and us. So that's happening. It's already been scheduled and planned. So Saturday I'm flying, not even home. I'm going on that trip with them. So that's what's happening. let's see here. What did I do?
You turned off your camera.
How did I?
Turned off
What did I
your
do?
camera, yeah.
How did I do that? Hold on.
Boomer moment.
Stop cam. Did you click stop cam?
I hit the wrong button. Okay, anyway, let's read. Can you read this, Stan, while I face this thing?
Sure, I'll just. Oh man. Okay. Thank you for the 5.
I fixed
There
it.
you go.
I fixed it. I'm back, sort of. I'm at the wrong
You
camera.
see
Though.
what Matt and I have to deal with, you guys?
Yeah.
Like such a boomer.
I don't know what's going on. I'll figure it out. Okay, go on. Read the super chat.
Type into Google Images percent of population absolutely certain God exists versus Europe. I come from the highest percent country. If you come here, it's palpable. Okay. Give me 1 sec.
Type in Google's image. Oh, absolutely certain God exists versus U.S. Europe. I come from the highest country. Okay. Good. We're glad but I don't know what the highest country is. So why don't you, while you do that, I'm gonna go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Will you live stream the truth of Yakub? We always do that. Listen, we don't, unless Yakub sends in a super chat. We're not talking about Yakub. So just letting you know, Yakub, if you're out there, you gotta send in a super chat and then we will read it. And maybe we will submit to the truth of Yakub.
Here's the thingy thing.
Okay.
The map.
Oh, so that what Armenia then?
I don't know.
It's Armenia.
Sure.
Yeah. I'd say you're from Armenia.
Or from America.
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 As a representative of the Senate of Kyles, we do not claim this Kyle. Okay, you hear it, Kyle? You've been voted out of the Senate of Kyles. You're now just Isle. You have lost the K.
Or Kai.
Sorry. I don't make the rules. Rogan mentioned Michael Heiser on yesterday's podcast in relation to Zechariah Sitchin. Baby, that's amazing. Super based.
I need to listen to that now.
Your reaction is normal, very wrong, but very smug. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I mean, listen, if you can't, I'm totally not being super serious. I'm being crude. Lighten up. Okay.
Yeah.
It happens to us all the time. Just get over yourself. Do you know any books about Christians and writing fiction lit? Or what's your opinion on Christians writing fiction? Love writing, but don't like Amish romance. Okay, yeah, then write good Christian fiction, like The Lord of the Rings. Uses Christian themes, and Tolkien said in his own letters, it's a Catholic mythology. So yeah, just start cranking it out. You got it. Shoot a King says, please make videos with sources showing why Christians should be proud of their faith and why even non-Christians should support Christianity in the church. You're in luck. There's a video coming out Friday titled How Christianity Ended Slavery. And then that's just one of 5 coming out. So I'm going to do one on that. I've got 4 other topics to cover. So yeah, that'll be out very soon.
Patreon supporters got that video on Sunday. So if you could become a Patreon supporter, you will have access to that video right now.
Yeah, you come on Patreon, you can watch it right now. And there's a lot of research in that for sure. So let's get back to the video.
That you can't do enough to actually live up to the standard that God holds you to. And so if you keep striving, you're actually going to wear yourself out and be exhausted.
Like atheists.
Little shot of atheist at the end there. These dirty atheists trying to like be moral and good within the context of the law. Like obviously you just have to believe in Jesus. Ready for this? Here's the cherry on top for this story.
What on earth was that? Like, he's so triggered, man. So
How
triggered.
did you get that? Like,
I don't know.
Joe Rogan is not saying you guys are dirty for trying to be moral. What? I don't know.
I know. It's pretty weird. I don't know, man. This is what we're dealing with here. This is what we're dealing with, folks. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. It's hard to. I had my mic set up and then it started falling again, so I had to move it and then I bumped the TV on. So I'm not doing well over here in Britain. I'm having a lot of mic issues. Okay, a lot of personal and mic issues. Different types of mic issues altogether.
Oh my gosh, that was so dumb. That was so dumb. It took me a minute to understand. Mic
I got it
issues.
immediately.
Oh,
story. This was just reported. Joe Rogan starts going to church as faith resurgence gains momentum, Christian apologist claims. So that's this guy who we just listened to. This guy's a Christian apologist. Joe invited him on, had a conversation with him, and this guy on his own show came out and said, Rogan has started to go to church, and he does it every week. Quote, I can tell you for a fact that Rogan is attending a church, and that has been a consistent thing. Christian apologist Wesley Huff claimed. His transformation is complete.
You mad, bro?
It's over, guys.
It's
the end of the world. Somebody is a Christian now.
Again, it sounds like Joe's kind of curious and wants to explore what people say at church. He's got a childlike curiosity, I guess, but only when he believes in what Kyle believes in and does what Kyle would do. I mean, like, what sort of like nonsense is this? I mean, like, I thought you, Kyle, I thought you wanted Joe to be curious and inquisitive and look into things and investigate. Now he's going to church, therefore he's just a fundamentalist Christian all of a sudden. And he doesn't think for himself. Like,
what does the word fundamentalist even mean here?
right. That's what I want to know. It's like, why is Joe suddenly a fundamentalist Christian because he attended church a couple times? Like, where's the logic? There seems to be a logical leap there, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It's insane.
He's gone full MAGA Republican. He's going full fundamentalist Christian.
Everyone who goes to church is a fundamentalist Christian, ladies and gentlemen.
You're funny if you believe in the resurrection. That's just the...
Doesn't Tom Holland go to church?
Because he's a fundamentalist Christian.
Yeah,
Does Josh Bowen still go to church?
Because he's a fundamentalist Christian.
You know, the atheist guy that argues against Christianity.
Because he's a fundamentalist Christian fan.
There's plenty of atheists that go to church.
No, they're only fundamentalist Christians, Matt.
Only fundamentalist Christians.
Yeah.
And everybody who said that trajectory is right 9 out of 10 times, they are correct. Because this has been a fatal flaw of mine for the longest time, where I always take people at face value and what they say and what they believe, and I don't see the changes that lead to a trajectory where they end up at the logical endpoint of that trajectory.
Listen, Kyle, I have something to say to you.
Be a smartass. Seriously. I mean it. Conduct yourself properly. Don't be a smartass. Seriously. I mean it.
Yeah, come on, Kyle. It's getting a little ridiculous.
Oh, no.
Trajectory. We went through this with Tulsi Gabbard. I thought Tulsi Gabbard, she's a lefty, but she's got some criticisms of the Democrats and, but fundamentally, she's not going to go all the way with the Republicans. She hates the Republicans too, right? Wrong. She just becomes a Republican. Now she's in the Trump regime. People like Jimmy.
Kyle, they put Tulsi Gabbard on a no-fly list. I think you would be a little pissed off too if your own party did that to you.
Wow.
Okay. How is it everyone's fault except your side? Do you have any self-awareness that maybe your side messed up? To Bill Maher's credit, Bill Maher, after the election, was on with some people going, what did we do wrong as the Democrats and as the left?
Yeah.
He said something like, I remember when Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK were like Democrats and on our side. What did we do wrong that pushed them to that side? He had, I think, Vance Jones, for example, on this stuff. And I like to listen to the people I don't agree with because I'm trying to get more perspectives about the whole world. And I think Bill Maher's very honest in a lot of ways, even though I think he's wrong on a lot of things. But at least they had a little bit more self-awareness than you. It's always their fault. Do you think that maybe your political side did something that scared these people away into the MAGA Republicans? Maybe Trump was listening to them. I mean, I always liked Tulsi Gabbard. I'll be perfectly honest. I liked her when she was a Democrat. I liked her when she was a Republican. Do I agree with her on everything? No. But to sit here and pretend like this is all just the right's fault or these people are all just stupid, it's just total lack of self-awareness of what's really going on.
Yeah, and I think that this guy, Kyle, he is more on the extreme end because I am seeing some Democrats like Bill Maher that we're mentioning who are being self-critical, and there's some creators I'm seeing that are Democrats that are saying this is why we lost, and then they'll play these videos of like like a lesbian couple singing about how we need to listen to black women. And it's like, what are we doing? You know, that's not, there was like the cringe factor is just so high. That's what's making people turn more right. And, you know, and this guy's behavior as well. It's just like, why would anybody want to associate with this type of behavior? Anybody with a functional brain.
All right, Matt. Why do you hate lesbians? Huh? Why do you hate lesbians? You clearly use them as an example because you're so sexist, racist, homophobic, bigot. I mean, that's the logical conclusion we have to draw.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. On Pride Month.
How dare you?
Jimmy Dore, who was criticizing Democrats from their left, and that was his whole shtick. But then eventually, over time, the criticism, it just became all criticism of Democrats, no criticism of Republicans. And then eventually, he dropped the facade and started making right-wing arguments. So the trajectory was, oh, I'm attacking the Democrats, but it's from the left, so I'm still a lefty too. Now I'm sort of an enlightened centrist, and all I do is attack the Democrats. To finally, now all I do is attack the Democrats, and I'm on the right, and I suck off Trump, right? There's so many examples of the trajectory starting and reaching its logical endpoint. And as I said, the guys over on the Vanguard, Zach and Gavin, they said Rogan is going to end up having like a Christian arc, right? Here it is. He already did the I'm a hippie, liberal pot smoker. Then it became I'm the enlightened centrist. Then it became I'm MAGA curious. Then it became I'm just MAGA. Then he's a standard Republican. Then it's Christian fundamentalism and having on people like this on his show.
Amen.
And all God's people said based.
Yeah. He's not a Christian fundamentalist, Kyle. Like, I'd love for Joe to come out and be a full-blown Christian. I don't think he has yet, as far as I can tell. He's definitely curious. He's definitely being inquisitive. But the fact that he's being inquisitive in ways you don't like doesn't magically make him no longer inquisitive, not an automatically a Christian fundamentalist and part of a cult and pushing out propaganda. Like, this is just, you're telling on yourself in so many ways, but how biased and how much of an echo chamber you're in. It's really sad, unfortunately.
Everything that disagrees with me is a grift. So,
absolutely. Yes.
Joe Rogan from 5 to 10 years ago would mock and laugh at the Joe Rogan of today.
Because that Joe Rogan was immature and needed some growing up to do. And by golly, did it happen. Maybe the Kyle of 10 years from now, you would be mocking if you considered maybe being a little more open-minded. I don't know. Just a thought you could consider.
Who brings on the world's most obvious charlatan snake oil salesman, religious freaks.
That's right, folks. That's what he thinks of us. Snake oil salesman, religious freaks. And so you wonder why I've been insulting him and not being super nice. Well, we finally got to it. Okay. Yeah. That's what he thinks of us. Fine. Fair game. You're open season, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, this is what we're dealing with.
The snake oil West Huff is selling is absolute biblical literacy. Got it.
Got it. Yes.
Argue Jesus is literally the Son of God and has risen in Christianity is factually correct.
Based.
One of the most laughable claims imaginable. What a fucking sad fall from grace, bro. He is so...
He's so angry. He's so angry that anyone would ever consider religiosity. It's like, dude, get over yourself, bro. Like, this is so beneath you. This is so anti-intellectual. It's worth mockery itself. This is immaturity at its finest.
Yeah. He looks like a game show host.
What's that?
He looks like a game show host that's throwing a tantrum.
He's literally just foot stomping.
Seen anybody? Well, that's not true. There's a lot of people who are mega washed. Russell Brand, Jimmy Dore, Joe Rogan. But this is like next level, bro. Next level. And thank God the Midas touched people have dethroned him as the number one.
All right. I think we can stop there. I think we get the point. Yeah. I don't even know who Midas Touch is. Remember that? Does anyone know what that is? I've never even heard of them until he mentioned them. That's my first time hearing about this pod. But it dethroned Joe Rogan. Okay, whatever.
Man, Mike, if he takes you up on the debate for God's existence or something like that, I'll talk, Kyle. I'll talk to you on the resurrection, man.
Yeah, if you don't want to talk to me being mean, you can talk to Than. He's much nicer.
Depends.
You guys can be on the channel by yourself. Yeah. Little Russia said, "Hey, Than, respect your elders. Instead of laughing about Michael pressing the wrong button, you should help him." Yeah, my poor old, geriatric technology self can't figure. You're laughing at me. How dare you disrespect me? Or you an ageist? I can't believe it. Yeah.
Mike, you abuse me on these streams all the time.
Wait till I get my hands on, you young people. Kyle is triggered by Rogan like rationality rolls over Tom Holland. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Stephen, to his credit, took down his video, didn't he?
To his credit. Yeah. Good on him. But Tim O'Neill did put an addition onto his blog addressing that. So if you go to Tim O'Neill's blog, History for Atheists, he does have, and he points out that, yeah, it's really good that he took it down, but the way he took it down and some of the things he said is he's trying to cover his ass and still trying to take.
Oh, there's more.
Like,
now I want the tea.
The way Stephen took it down and what he said about it is kind of like shady, and I agree with Tim on this for sure. So Tim is right. Stephen should have just taken the video down and been like, "Yeah, I messed up. My bad. I'll try to do better."
Yeah,
he was
I remember.
Like, yeah, it was the editor's fault. All this stuff.
I remember reading some of Tim's post, and then I remember telling you, Matt, before all of this happened, I remember telling you, Matt, I'm like, "Hey, I watched RR's video, and he 100% just used ChatGPT, and he did not read the books."
Mm-hmm.
So I feel very vindicated. That's all.
RR not reading the source material?
Oh, that sounds familiar. Remember when we, used his book against him in that stream?
Yeah, it seems to be a recurring problem for him. 5 years ago, Kyle had sane center-left takes, but he's way off the deep end lately. Yeah, if the trajectory continues, he'll be
TikTolic.
Yeah. Wow.
In terms of agnostic atheists, is term agnostic atheist a contradiction? Definition: they believe in a higher power but can't prove it. In my honest opinion, it's about an ontology. People online use it. Did you mean agnostic theist? Because your definition didn't jive with that. So I don't think it's a contradiction of an agnostic atheist. You can be someone who claims to be, I don't think a God exists and I'm just agnostic about it. Ultimately, if you're an agnostic theist, no, you'd say I generally believe in a theistic creator, but I'm not entirely sure. It's generally how I understand it in the colloquial senses.
It gets really messy really quickly.
Armenia and Georgia tied top spot. I'm from Georgia, but are the first two countries to officially adopt Christianity as a national religion. Yes, that's super based. Denies the virgin birth of Christ, but accepts the virgin birth of the universe. Sounds like he has his own version of faith. I think that's what Joe is getting at.
That's Joe's point, yeah.
For sure. IP is not gay from the uncorruptible Injil. Now, this is why I'm a believer in the uncorruptible Injil. It gets fact after fact right. Than is gay. IP is not gay. I mean, fact after fact, ladies and gentlemen. So, all right.
Amazing.
Anything we else got to say, Matt? What you always remind us to do stuff that we want to do. What do we have to do before we close?
Hey guys, so check it out. If you've been thinking about why doesn't IP do this or why doesn't IP do that? Well, guess what? If you become a supporter, your support does the following, okay? Gives you access to the Discord if you become a VIP Patreon supporter right now. And if you donate on GiveButter on the website, that's inspiringphilosophy.com/give, you will have access before it becomes public. We're still figuring that out, so please be patient. Not only that, you're helping Than become a full-time apologist while working with scholars on heavily researched, in-depth, cutting-edge, crucial, and groundbreaking research that is helping Christianity. Your donation does that. You are helping IP create more in-depth content, host engaging live discussions like this one, and you yourself are helping defend the faith with solid scholarship. So if you have not given towards Inspiring Philosophy, make sure you do that today. You can go to inspiringphilosophy.com/give, or you can become a Patreon member, YouTube member. There's lots of different ways to give. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you.
Are you done?
We should just have you every time, Matt. You do this way better than Mike and I can.
Yeah, we suck at this. We're just so bad at.
Well,
doing
I mean,
this.
think
That's
about it
fun.
like this, guys. We are producing free. We're producing free content for the internet. And we also need to eat food. So they're just helping you guys, give them continue to give them free content.
I like food.
Yeah, and I definitely want to come to Britain again next year for this conference because we've actually done a lot of really good work so far. And
Nice.
Britain definitely needs more evangelism. People like Kyle really need someone in their life to be told to grow up. It's obvious it's obviously a temper tantrum for not everything going his way. Yeah, it definitely comes across that way. That's why we had to address it. You heard it here, folks. Mike Jones is trying to hire an openly gay man for Pride Month in the apologist space. So donate to get him hired full time. That's right, Than.
It's not even. He's just completely oblivious to.
Doing
I'm
great.
just not
We're so proud of
acknowledging
you
it.
over there. Yeah. Do you recommend checking out Dale Allison's books? I recommend checking out all of Dale Allison's books. I don't agree with all of them, but you should definitely read plenty of books on this topic, including Dale Allison. Don't ever not. Matt, ever get pissed when they yell your name?
My spidey senses tingle a little bit, but it doesn't matter.
He'll lay in bed. He would just sit up straight. They mentioned me. How would a libertarian understand influences on behavior? Character influences do not equal causation, or does not necessitate determinism?
Here's a really simple way of tackling this. This problem evaporates if you just take a source-hood account of free will and causation.
Take what? Say it again.
A source-hood account.
What?
Source-hood account. Can you explain that now?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm crashing out here a little bit. I'm sorry. Yeah, here's the simplest way to put it down. An agent is free so long as they are the source of their actions. Like that's the easiest way to put it. So even if there are influences, so long as you are the source of the actions or the behaviors, you still are free.
Excellent. Okay. So what is today? Wednesday. Okay. So here's what's going on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Friday, our video, How Christianity Ended Slavery, is coming out. It's a 37-minute video packed with a lot of historical information. And if you want to watch it now, just become a Patreon member. It's up on there right now.
Yep.
You can go watch it right now if you want to get all the historical information. And it will help support the channel so we can keep making videos like that. I'm going on vacation because I'm exhausted and my parents paid for it and I'm not passing up a free vacation. So Than will be shaving his head on this channel Monday and doing something else. But, that's important. He's going to be shaving his head. I don't know if Matt's going to be here. That's up to
Matt's going to be there with me.
Okay, so they'll be here. I will be on a beach reading a book. I have the 4th edition of the Worlds of Medieval Europe, and I'm going to dive into that. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Nice.
So yeah, you can all piss off. I have more important things to do Monday.
Then, if I become a Patreon member, what videos will you be doing that I'll get early access to within the next few months?
Oh my gosh!
What videos am I doing? So we just finished up a script on adoptionist Christology. So a lot of people will argue that Jesus wasn't always viewed as God or wasn't always God, that he eventually became God or ascended, or many different ways. So you can look out for that video. I have another long form video coming out on 2 powers in heaven theology. And if you guys watched David Wood's debate with Alex O'Connor, he kind of brings that up. I brought that up in my argument with Jubilee. I'm just going to unpack that a lot more in that video.
Good.
And obviously there will be videos done on the 2 studies I'm doing as well. So you can look forward to those. I just can't unpack those all the way. I don't remember if I'm doing anything else off the top of my head.
No, I don't want you to say the one video I want you to do. That's a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. All right. With that, we're going to close this out. I got nothing else. Going once, going twice. We're out. Okay. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. It's super late over here. It's what is it? It's like 11. Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
Oof.
All right. Again, video coming out Friday, stream on Monday, probably some other streams. I'll be back in a week and a half because I'll be back the following Monday. So yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. We will see you guys next time. You made it to the end of this video, which means this message matters to you. If you want to see more content like this reaching people for Christ, you can help make it happen. Your support makes these videos possible. Click the link below and donate today. And if you want to go even deeper, consider joining our Patreon community. You'll get early access to videos, behind-the-scenes content, and a place to connect with others passionate about this mission.